for almost 20 years. She's an extreme shopaholic who can't stop charging things she doesn't need. Her addiction led to shopping in secret, hiding new purchases from family, maxing out her husband's credit cards without his knowledge, and filing for bankruptcy. It left her family completely broke and her husband working 2 jobs. Desperate to fulfill the urge, she was arrested for stealing and in jail. According to an October 2012 ABC News report entitled "Hooked on a Feeling," Ronnie feels a high and need to shop, an attempt to fill a void that stems from childhood when her parents divorced, resulting in abandonment and rejection issues. I chose this story because it includes all of the main points I will discuss today. About 18 million of Americans are struggling with the compulsive shopping, one type of the many compulsive behaviors that exist. As a public health major, behavioral addiction interests me because it is a public health issue and likely to come up in my career. Given these numbers of simple math, you will know one of these people. Today I will discuss the causes, effects, and treatment of behavioral addiction. I will begin by discussing the causes which can trigger from trauma. One way to repress childhood trauma is to engage in compulsive activities to avoid guilt, pain, and shame. In Ronnie's case, she purchased in sets. If there were 5 colors of the same shirt, she had to buy them all, or else it was like breaking up a family, a result of her own abandonment and rejection issues as a child. Grief and depression is another kind of trauma. The loss of a loved one can make someone vulnerable to addiction. Another cause is low self-esteem, poor communication, and social skills. Causing the inability to express feelings and wants leads to internalized emotions with no outlet, failure to deal with stressors of life, feelings of unhappiness and unworthiness within, which leads to seeking happiness from outside sources, for example, gambling and shopping. Behavioral addiction may not be obvious, but they are doing damage, and these are some of the effects. In a 2012 Journal of Psychiatric Drugs article by R. Karim and P. Chaudhry, the DSM-5, also known as the Manual of Mental Disorders, stated that behavioral addiction alters the brain's behavioral inhibitory system. In other words, it alters the brain's ability to consider consequences. This leads to a variety of compulsive behaviors. In Ronnie's case, it was the compulsive shopping. In doing so, a higher than normal level of dopamine is released and excites the reward system, making it likely to repeat self-destructive behaviors. Euphoria and adrenaline rush lead to psychological dependence. Ability to think of the negative consequences is clouded by the rush. Dependency is the second effect. Taking high risk to little or no reward. Wanting to fill a void that can't be fixed, that can't be filled but needs to be fixed. Negative consequences are the third effect. Legal problems are very common. In Ronnie's case, after being completely broke, her family was forced to file for bankruptcy, and she was arrested for stealing. Relationship and marital issues, result of lying in secrets from the spouse and significant other. Financial problems, in Ronnie's case, filing for bankruptcy, and family problems, because consequences not only affect the addict, but the family as well. Admitting feeling powerless of behaviors, addressing the underlying root of the problem, and setting strict new rules will allow the individual to reclaim a healthy life with the proper treatment. Recovery can take years, but behavioral addiction is treatable. Here are a few of the options. The first one is group therapy. A 12-step program has proven to be effective. The second is behavioral therapy, which helps by replacing bad habits with good ones. For example, Ronnie learning to look but not buy. Changing thoughts to change feelings. Teaching social and learning skills through observation and practice. And the third is medical treatment, which is optional along with therapy. By prescribing mood stabilizers and antidepressants, the addict's brain will be balanced. Today I discussed the cause, effects, and treatment of behavioral addictions, specifically Ronnie's behavior of compulsive shopping. There's a variety of compulsive behaviors, but any addictions come at a cost. When Ronnie hit rock bottom, after being arrested for stealing, she sought out the help of a therapist who specialized in compulsive shopping. He taught her the skills to look but not buy and to cope with the urge. New rules at home are also necessary. Ronnie no longer has access to her own checkbook. Instead, she uses her husband's, which requires his signature with each purchase. With the help of her therapist, Ronnie is learning to change her thoughts. If she can change her thoughts, she can change her world.